This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O
Show. There he is. He's locked and loaded. And are you free from jury duty, or have you been hook, line, and sinker in there? What's the deal?
So I'm not allowed to discuss the details of the trial,
no,
but this is the first jury I have ever served on, and it is very interesting. It is very fascinating. There are times, Big O, where I want to jump up and ask the witness a question myself. I'm not allowed to do that, but sometimes I think that it's kind of like when you're in a press conference with head coach Mike McDaniel and you're looking over at the other guy like, well, why did you ask that question? You could have asked it so much better. And I'm hoping that today's day one of the trial, and then we're supposed to come back next Monday, and hopefully it'll be a 2-day civic responsibility. But I am pleased to serve my community.
All right. Every time I've gone, I've never been chosen. I mean,
shocker.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the ash of cross that I put on my head when I walk in. I don't shave for 4 days and shower for 5. So when I walk, I don't know why it is that they never keep me there. I don't know what it is. It's
the excuses of the people that were trying to get out of this. Yeah, people that were trying to get out of this yesterday. I couldn't believe.
Come on, give me a good excuse. Did you hear them? Were they public out there? Were they talking?
Yeah.
Come on, give us a doozy. Give us a doozy.
One guy said, I cannot judge another man. Only God can judge that man. And I'm sitting there like, oh, man. And then another lady said that the Starbucks she worked at could not function without her.
Well, I mean, she might be a kick-ass barista. You never know, bro. Those people are, if you can't draw Joe Schad's face on a coffee, then, she can do that. So that's a skill that if nobody else can do that, only she can draw Joe Schad's face on the top of a coffee. I mean,
listen, I want to be clear. There's nothing wrong with working in a Starbucks. I would do it if I needed a job, and I love Starbucks. But to say that that's why I can't serve on a jury, I don't know.
I will say baristas are pretty cool. How they can do that crafty stuff on the top of your coffee. That's a gift. That's actually really, really cool.
They brought in 42 potential jurors. They chose 7, including an alternate. And of course, so what's that? 1 out of 6 odds. I should go hit the Seminole Hard Rock Casino.
Yeah. Either that or I don't know do you think that's a good luck thing what you just did or a bad luck thing?
Listen, I did not speak up and say I didn't want to be there. That's probably why I'm here today.
Yeah, that's probably it. You were un-American. The American thing to do is, I can't do this. I'm busy. I don't have time for you people. He's guilty. That's it. Throw the key away. That's all.
The dynamics in the...
That's the other thing I do when I get there. I tell them, jail all these bastards. And then somehow or another, they don't keep me around. I don't know.
I'm already quite annoyed by 2 of the jurors. I don't want to tell them that they annoy me, but I'm hoping this doesn't last too long.
All right. Well, let's annoy you talking about the Dolphins now.
Okay.
All right. Trading deadline, bro. This is what's on everybody's mind right now. Roquan went. I keep getting asked about Bradley Chubb, although I don't believe the Dolphins are in the market for a big-time free agent. I think they're trying to either rent a player or somebody a little cheaper because I'm trying to explain to people, Brandon Jones, I know got injured, but he's pretty much up for a contract very soon. Javon Holland, Tua, Christian Wilkins, Jalen Waddle. These are 5 guys that you're going to have to pay over the next couple of years. There's going to be a lot of big contracts being dealt by the Miami Dolphins over the next couple of years. So I'm not convinced that they're trying to trade for a big name. I think they're trying to trade for somebody that can get them by, not necessarily somebody that they have to commit to long-term and give up a lot of capital that they now have less of because of the penalties. Your thoughts on that?
Over the years, you've seen the Dolphins pick up backup center, third guard, fifth corner type, for sixth, seventh rounders, fifth, sixth, swap of a 5 and a 6. We certainly wouldn't be surprised if any of those types of transactions are made. Do the Dolphins want to invest heavily in a guy who's going to come with a big contract? I don't know that they're on the verge of a championship. This is a developing team, a young team. Are you ready to think that you're going to beat Buffalo and Kansas City, and are you a legitimate Super Bowl contender? I don't know that this team is at this time.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're with me. You don't think, plus all those contracts they have coming up.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a lot of contracts that are coming up because they're actually now hitting on their picks. Do you realize, by the way, Joe, that they have hit on 5 of their last 7 first-round picks for a team that never used to hit on their picks? Do you
So
realize
you're not counting Benogany and Jackson?
Right. Those are the 2, 5 and 2.
Who are the 5? Phillips, Tua, Waddle.
Wilkins.
Tua, Phillips, Waddle, Wilkins. Good player. Who's the 5th one? Let's see. O-line, running back, D-line, linebacker.
Who's the other
Holland
one?
is a second rounder.
No, Holland's a second rounder. Who's the other one?
Baker is not a first rounder.
No.
Ogba's a free agent. Who are we missing? Oh, we'll come back around to it.
We're missing somebody. But anyway.
But listen, listen, last year's draft class, obviously, very, very good.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you look at
but those guys aren't up yet. Holland and Phillips.
You got 2 years.
Are all in their second year.
No, but Holland is only 4 years.
True.
Brendan Jones is only 4 years. Those guys. So after year 3, as you know,
right.
You're going to be negotiating with Holland already after year 3. With Jones, you may have bought yourself a year now because of the injury. So you can tag him and you can play that game.
There hasn't been enough discussion about Wilkins. It's a little weird, right? Because this is
that's right.
Year.
No, the other one is Minka. It was the pick.
Okay.
It's not. That was a hell of a pick. It was just Chris Greer was forced to trade him because of the whole flow thing. But it's not like it's a failed pick. That was a good pick. So Minka was the other one. Thank you all on the chat board for helping me out there.
And
Minka
the Dolphins can tag Wilkins, and that would be a more expensive tag than Gesicki. But probably a safer bet than Gesicki was.
Yeah, but I think you want to sign him now, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
I think because the big money comes in 2 years. So before you have to pay, because Tua's contract after year 5, because what they'll do, Joe, after his 4th year, they'll renegotiate a new deal for him where it'll be after that 5th year. And so then the money really won't go up crazy until after that 5th year. And then that way you buy yourself a couple of years before that big money kicks in. So if you pay Wilkins now early on and try to get that front load the contract in the first 2 years, so you can kind of get him out of the way and keep his number a little lower. So when Holland, Tua, and those other guys come up in 2 years, that number is not nearly as crippling.
Yeah, I mean, if the Dolphins end up trying to compete for a championship while Tua Tagovailoa is under a $30 million plus a year contract, that's going to be a lot harder. It really is. It's going to be a lot harder. You're going to have to make tougher decisions. And so as well as Tua is playing now, at some point, they're obviously going to have to make a decision about how committed they are to him. And you look at it, I mean, Baltimore has yet to firmly commit to Lamar Jackson. So there's a lot of apprehension from these franchises about giving anyone 30 plus million.
Well, I think Lamar's problem is he wants serious guarantees, and because he's a running quarterback, that just because that's a whole different ball game and another mess. By the way, the Nets have fired Steve Nash. How about that? He of the bad hair.
They should fire Kyrie Irving. I mean, that's an absolute joke.
I know
that guy. Him and Kanye need to go just to another island.
They're a disgrace. I'm 100% with you. And his explanation for why he was, supportive of that disgusting film and book and all that. It just, it's just. But then again, you know what, Joe? We're dragging ourselves down because of crazy people. And that's why they're crazy. And this is why they do things like this. And this is why we can't pay attention to crazy people. But we give crazy people a damn platform. And, this is what happens,
You got to be
unfortunately.
careful. You got to be careful who you invest in. Draft
Right.
picks,
Yes.
money, guaranteed
Yes.
money.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. By the way,
You
following up
can.
your point on the quarterback part, when they do pay him, I will say this front office has passed the test because they're not the team that relies only on first rounders. They do a very good job with their middle and late round picks and street free agents. They find undrafted and street free agents like a Snell now is the latest, just like a Seiler
Shell,
has
yeah.
been before, and
Sealer.
Shell,
You're 0
Sealer.
for 2. Keep going.
Yeah, Sealer, Seiler, Snell, Shell,
Shell
whatever.
and Sealer.
Anyway, so they find these guys all the time.
And
And they
Kohu. Say
Yeah, and
Kohu
Kohu,
with me.
yeah,
And
so
McKinley.
yeah, you're going to need to be good at that once you pay your quarterback. Every team needs to be good at that. But the Dolphins have kind of proven that, Joe.
And scheme. The Dolphins are third in the NFL in yards per play, which is just mind-blowing. We knew that there was going to be a huge improvement with Mike McDaniel. This is a proven scheme. This is a winning scheme. This is a scheme that fits Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And so you can win on offense and defense with scheme. And, Josh Boyers, Bill Belichick, Brian Flores, Dean Pease, Patriots defense is proven as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you there. Joe, we look at damn, what was I going to ask you now? I brain farted now last night. So first of all, we watched Tua, obviously becoming a star before our eyes and one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. That's not up for any more discussion at this point. But then yesterday, you watched the Browns beat the Bengals. And, Jabroni has actually had a decent year this year. Yeah, I got it wrong also. So Jabroni has actually had a decent year. How does that make Brian Flores look when Tua's kicking some serious ass? And if you kept Flores, you might have ruined that quarterback, by the way, and ruined the chance to have a franchise quarterback, which Miami hasn't had since Marino. But even Jabroni Brisket plays better without Brian Flores. So I'm just wondering, how's this look for Brian Flores? It
was Flores' biggest mistake. I mean, listen, he was let's see. He was stubborn. Well, hold on. No. He was stubborn and abrasive and not very nice to people, including the media. But his biggest mistake was not getting the offensive coordinator right. He went from Chad O'Shea. See, I'm 0 for 1. There's one E for me.
I'm influencing you. I love
one
it.
One E and E2 for Joe Schad. From Chad O'Shea to Chan Gailey, who was actually the most successful one. And then everyone knew that his failure to get any of the 8 or so offensive coordinators that he interviewed to both convince him that he should hire him and to agree to work with Flores. That was the biggest error right there, because then he had to go to the Godsey-Studesville combination. Both very nice guys, but not offensive coordinators.
But you never believed in your quarterback either. So you couldn't figure out your coordinators, but you also never believed in the quarterback, which was also a huge mistake on his part. So overall, he really couldn't assess anything the right way. He couldn't assess getting the right coordinators, and he couldn't assess the quarterback talent that he actually had.
Well,
so
I'm not to defend Flo, but the player that we're seeing right now is not the player that Brian Flores or I saw in practice his first 2 years. So he's a better player.
Well, of course you're going to be a better player when you have better coaches, you have a better line.
But he's physically he's got more reps and understanding defenses, and he's also physically stronger. He's healthier. He's got a quicker release. His personal trainer, who sometimes the challenges me on
Joe,
Twitter.
Joe,
Well, hold on, hold on.
you're going overboard, bro. He didn't have
No,
the
no, no,
coaching.
no.
He didn't have the talent, bro. Simple
Well,
as
no,
that.
but he's
The
also
rest of the stuff
stronger
was going to
physically.
come. The
No, but
rest of the stuff
physically
was going to
stronger.
come with
No,
experience.
let's give Tua and his personal trainer credit for helping him get stronger and healthier.
But that was all going to come with time, just like the experience and all that. He was always going to be a baller, but you have to put the right people around him, or else he's not going to be able to do, his job. That's what he was at Alabama. When he had real coaching and a real line and real talent around him, he could go out there and do his thing. Look, last night, Tua does not get any break like Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's line is shit. He lost his number one receiver. And even though they have the number one receiving core, because they're supposed to have all three receivers, but they lost their number one guy. If Tua was playing last night in that uniform, it's cut him. He sucks. We should have gotten Deshaun Watson. We should have traded for Brady. We should have done this. We should have done that. And he never gets that break. He never gets that understanding.
Well, there's an overreaction. There's an overreaction from week
Yeah.
to week in the NFL as it comes to NFL quarterback evaluations. That is
No, but nobody's ripping Joe Burrow, dude.
Well,
Nobody's ripping Joe Burrow.
I'm sure somebody wrote that Burrow had a bad game. I didn't actually watch it, but
No, there's a difference
from week
between
to
having
week.
a bad game and you suck, and they shouldn't have drafted you, and you're too short, and this and that. That's what would have happened yesterday. That's what I'm telling you.
There's been two camps. One, those who are overly critical of Tua, saying that the story had been completed before it had, and even I did not say that the story had been completed.
Yes.
The story was not over. But then there's the other camp, and Dave Hyde, our friend from the Sun Sentinel, made an interesting reference to this in his most recent game day column. He said that some crowned Tua before he is showing what he's showing now. So it's sort of both ends of the spectrum. The wild supporters who claim that
but you know what Dave Hyde, you know what Dave Hyde clearly leaves out? Okay. I'm right. Okay? I'm right. I said he would be a star. I told you, and you called me crazy, right? You probably still think I'm crazy. I take Tua over Herbert. I said you can go look at it a year and a half ago. The video's there. You can't hide it anywhere. I said he's a Pro Bowl quarterback. If you put the right people around him, he's a Pro Bowl quarterback. But what Hyde can't see, the problem with that argument that's so weak on Hyde's part is those of us that actually thought he was a star, we were right. Those that thought he wasn't, well, you're dead ass wrong. That's how some of us looked at the guy in Alabama and said, okay, he's got Saban and a hell of a staff and receivers, and he's kicking ass, and he won a national title. Now he comes here and he doesn't have shit. No wonder he's not doing well. That's the way I looked at it.
Listen, kudos to you for being consistent in your belief in Tua, okay? But for most of us, our opinions and our analysis are fluid based on the evidence that is being provided. And I don't think there's anyone that needs to apologize for that. I'm not going to apologize for the fact that entering the NFL draft, I wrote 12 columns about why the Dolphins would regret it forever if they didn't draft Tua Tagovailoa. And I'm not going to regret for writing some columns during the first 2 years of his career saying, gosh, we sure haven't seen what we'd hoped for yet. No apologies needed. No apologies except I get these text messages, fill out this apology form. That's ridiculous. There's no apology.
Oh, you should fill it out. Pete Prisco laid the sword down, bro. Yesterday, he like, all right, to a non, stop calling me. That's it. I'll admit I was wrong, and that's it. There you go. That's all. Because too many people put his ass away when he wasn't healthy yet, when he didn't have help, and it's just kind of funny. I'm just glad.
But this is fun. This is great fun. Listen, this is great fun.
I'm happy for I'm happy Mike McDaniel got here, dude. Because if Mike McDaniel doesn't get here, Joe, where's the Dolphin Nation?
One thing that fans need to realize, and I love the fans, and I love their passion, and I'm a fan too of other teams and other sports. Us sports writers, us sports journalists, we love this. We love that Tua is first in the NFL in passer rating and first in yards per attempt and sixth or whatever it is in completion percentage and first in QBR. We want to cover a winner. We want to cover a winning team. We want to cover an exciting offense with big plays.
That's
This
true.
is great fun. You know, I haven't
That's
been cleared to travel yet. I was trying to go to Chicago, and the doctors won't let me on the plane. But I'm really hoping to, I'm going to cover a couple of the California road trip, Buffalo, and New England. It's interesting. I saw Colin Cowherd moving the goalposts a little bit, and I agree with that phrase, saying, okay, well, is this offense going to play well in the cold? I'm going to ask you this, Big O. Okay, it is true he has had a couple of poor moments in the cold and wet conditions late in seasons. Do you think it's fair to bring up, hey, let's see how he does in those conditions? Is that fair?
Yeah, sure. If that's what you all are worried about, that's fine.
Okay.
He's a baller, bro. He's a baller in any weather. He's a baller in any game. The problem is what you guys were watching was a guy that still wasn't healthy and was playing behind a terrible offensive line, did not have weapons, and it put him in positions that he lacks the same thing that Joe Montana lacks. And he lacks the same thing that Bob Greasy lacks and Drew Brees. They're not built like Josh Allen. They're not built like Marino. They're not built like Elway. They're different kinds of quarterbacks. And I keep trying to explain this to people. And Joe Montana could not go up in Buffalo in the middle of December in swirling winds and throw a 50-yard bomb because he didn't have the arm for that.
So the run game is going to be important.
The run game, and what he is, he kills you inside a 35-yard box. That's what he does. He kills you. He assassinates you inside a 35-yard box. He doesn't need to throw it 70 yards downfield. And nobody does anyways. They might do it once a game, once a month, whatever. People, again, they live in this fantasy world that we're throwing 50 and 70-yard bombs when Pat Mahomes and everybody else is throwing 5-yard passes like it's going out of style. So
Tua has thrown it down the field more than I expected.
Of course.
He's got more air yards than I expected.
Yeah. Well, he can do that. That's
listen, Tua did say that he worked in the rain and cold in the off season. So it is something that Tua took it upon himself, knowing that he grew up in Hawaii and played in Alabama, to try to seek out the cold.
Joe, I keep telling you and all the guys that come on, he listens to us. And he's listened to all you freaking haters that he's too short and he doesn't have an arm and he can't throw in the rain and he gets injured and he's not tough enough and he's not smart enough and he doesn't work and all that. And he told Maria, I'm taking receipts. And he goes to practice with his brother in Maryland. And why? Because he hears this shit. And I keep telling everybody and they keep thinking, oh, no, he doesn't. Yeah, he may not sit there in front of a TV listening, but he's getting it secondhand from Nick and Norland, from a friend, from his brother, from his father, from his cousin, from somebody else. They're all telling him all this shit. And this is what drives him to play like the maniac that he is and gets hurt and all that shit, because he wants to prove to everybody that every negativity that you say of him is wrong. And I wish that he would tune everybody out, because that's been a problem. And the examples are there that he does listen. Listen.
Derek Jeter to Kobe Bryant to Tom Brady, legends all admit at some point, whether it's after their career or not, that they are fueled and motivated by criticism, and so that's okay.
Yeah. All right. Tell them what you're working on the Palm Beach Post, my friend, outside of
right now I'm working on this jury trial, but I'm looking forward to getting back to camp tomorrow and listening to Tua Tagovailoa talk about how he has begun to fully grasp the offense, which is really just amazing. I mean, think about, he's it's 8 games, but he's only played 5 of them in full. And so, maybe the ceiling is a lot higher than we all thought. That's something I'm going to think of writing about this week. And also the fact that the Dolphins have some stars now. That Brian Flores' thing was always, I don't believe in stars. And Mike McDaniel, man, he believes in stars. He believes in everything that goes with that.
Yeah. Well, ask Flores. He's got all those rings because there's one star that took him all the way every time. And the Bucks fans also appreciate that 1 star that put it in there always. All right, my brother, appreciate you. Have a great week, and thank you. We'll catch up later on in the week, my friend.
See you, bud.
You got it. The great Joe Schad with our Hijinks sportsgrill.com Miami Dolphins report. Hijinks Go check out the website. Better yet, go to the Instagram page. It might be one of the hottest Instagram pages on the planet. Okay. Sometimes I got to tell you guys, and then you're still lazy and you don't go. And so sometimes what you need is you just need like somebody to show you, show you physically what it looks like to be at Hijinks Sports Grill. Okay? Let me see here. Let me see if I can do this for you guys here. Just to kind of give you a little. They're coming at you. There you go. Huh? That's Halloween. That's Halloween at Hijinks Sports Grill. Okay? Halloween at Hijinks Sports Grill. It's just it's a sports bar like no other, ladies and gentlemen. 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 Okay? Are you getting the point now? Yeah, that's a sports bar. Yeah, Boca Raton. Huh? Huh? What do you think about that? What do you think about that? Okay. The Hijinks honeys, the Hijinks beauties. They it is gorgeous women all over the place at Hijinks. Yeah, that's I'm just saying, when they're current and former Dolphin cheerleaders, that's all you kind of need to know. And there's only one location, and it's in Boca. So those of you that live up north, and those of you that visit South Florida, now you're going, maybe I should stay around the Boca area, and then I'll travel down for the game.